Good evening to my YouTube subscribers and as well as my Facebook and my Instagram family. This is C Temptation coming to you with another video of Chicago Talk. Happy Monday evening to you. Many blessings out to all of you as well. Tonight's video, I had decided to do a part 2 of heart disease, and it's the top 5 foods that you should avoid while managing heart disease. Now, the first video, for those of you who did not review the first video, I was going over some statistics in terms of the percentage of heart disease among African Americans. To kind of briefly touch on that, it is 44% of African American men with heart disease and 48% of women, African American women, with heart disease. And those numbers did kind of disturb me because that's the result of people not taking proper care of themselves, not going to the physicians, getting their yearly checkups, and following the instructions that was laid out by their primary care physicians. So that's what pretty much is what I touched on the first video. So tonight's video is going to be part 2 of heart disease, and basically I'm touching on 5 different categories of food that you should avoid while managing heart disease. Now, excuse me. Now, I'm going to start off with certain foods to avoid with heart disease. Avoid foods that will increase your heart rate and as well as blood pressure. And just like I indicated in the first video, that a lot of times though, people develop high blood pressure before they turn the age of 40, and that is pretty scary. So I'm just going to kind of touch on 5 different things to avoid while managing heart disease. Number 1 is caffeine. Now, it is known to stimulate the body, and it can act as a trigger for a trivial fibrillation, which basically what that means is irregular heart rate. So, especially when you're on medication and trying to manage heart disease, it's best to try to either reduce, cut back, or just simply avoid caffeine. Because if you think about it, caffeine is a form of a drug and it's a stimulant. So it will definitely increase your heart rate. Now, the second thing to avoid while managing heart disease is alcohol. Avoid drinking no more than 1 drink a day, even if you've been diagnosed with this particular condition. And for the women, alcohol may serve as a trigger for a trivial fibrillation. Now, my theory is this, that if the doctor has you on prescription medications, it's best to avoid consuming alcohol, period. Because that is because if you think about alcohol is a form of a liquid drug. So, either do 1 drink a day, or if the doctor has you on medication, it's best not to drink at all. Okay. The third thing to avoid is leafy greens. Now, if you're prescribed on a medication called warfarin, it's spelled WARFARIN, warfarin, and which is a prescription for blood thinner. And you have to be really careful consuming these following types of green leaf foods, such as broccoli, kale, spinach, and asparagus. And the reason why, though, that you could try to avoid these, because they contain high levels of vitamin K. And if you're on this prescription for this blood thinner, it can interfere with this particular type of medication. So if you can, avoid it, even though that it is healthy to eat raw vegetables and fruits. But if you're on this particular type of blood thinner, then it's best just to avoid it altogether. Okay. The fourth thing to avoid is salt. Okay. Now, far as with salt, far as with the American Heart Association, according to their statistics, they recommend no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day if you have high blood pressure. So it's best to just, if you do have high blood pressure, just to avoid salts. An alternative thing to use, though, for a substitute for salt is Mrs. Dash. And it is good, for using for any type of dishes and to add extra taste and flavor, and as well as avoid the sodium. So, and the fifth and most important thing was, and this is kind of important, is high fat foods. Okay. Now, people living with this particular disease, they should avoid eating saturated fats, for example, like butter and cheese. Far as trans fat, you can find that in either margarines and also increases cholesterol as well. Now, far as with that, let me go back. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. People living with this disease should avoid eating saturated fats, for example, like butter and cheese. Trans fat, that's also found in margarines and increases your cholesterol, and it also, and those particular type of things that are good for you, not good for you, are found in meats and dairy products. So the two best things to substitute butter and margarine is canola oil or olive oil or extra virgin olive oil. That will definitely reduce your cholesterol, and this will help maintain your health. Now, I have used cholesterol before, though, and that is good though for managing, a healthy and a happy heart. So, yeah, when I did study and research that information this morning, I thought that it was really important to do a video on it because people need to be made aware of this, because the more that you know and the more that you grow. And it's just like my physician had told me, because I have a back condition. Just like my physician had told me on not my last appointment, but the appointment before that. He said that your body is like an automobile. If you don't take care of it, then it won't take care of you. Because if you don't do the proper things to maintain your body, then you're going to find your body to start to break down, and you're going to be running across a whole lot of issues. So, it's really important that you have to really take care of yourself. Go to the doctor. If they prescribe you any medications as far as for heart disease, blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever the case is, follow those remedies, and also to try to maintain a proper diet, because once you maintain a proper diet, then, that would lessen the chances, of heart disease or any other things that might occur though throughout time. So, you have to really take time out for yourself and to maintain your health, because that's pretty much the main thing that you have in your life, though, because if you don't have good health, then anything else in this world just doesn't even matter. So, it's really important that you have to really take good care of your health, especially, reaching out to the melanated people, because on the last video, 44% of African American men, 48% of African American women were heart disease, and that's half of the country. It's really important that we have to really maintain our health, and whatever it is that's out of order, like your cholesterol or high blood pressure, you have to maintain that to try to live as long as possible, because the Creator did put us on this earth to live a happy and healthy and prosperous life. So those are the things that I wanted to touch on. So this is part 2 of the top 5 foods to avoid to manage heart disease. So if you have any questions or if you want to make any comments, make sure that you leave your comments below on this video. And for anybody that wants to join me, if you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget to hit the little bell on the bottom, for new notifications of my upcoming videos, because I will be definitely be pushing out new videos to come. I have a couple of more videos in mind that I'm planning on doing this week. One of the things I wanted to do is to introduce you, because I've been writing poetry for over 20 years. So before this week is out, I am going to plan on doing a poem that I have wrote myself. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to touch on a story. And this happened yesterday, and it's really sad, about a father and a son. But I'm not going to touch on that right now. So I'm going to get ready to wrap this video up. But, make sure that you take care of your health, because that's all you have, though. Because once your health fails, nothing else matters. So again, this is C Temptation of Chicago Talk, getting ready to sign out. And I want to wish you a happy and prosperous evening.